All right, and welcome to the advanced rain shader. So this is the rain shader from the Particle City tutorial series, but taken up a level. So I've spent some time and improved it in a lot of different ways and put it all together into one easy to use package. So you can use this shader on anything you want. So I'll just walk you through what it does. First thing I want to show you is in cycles, when you set to cycles, it's able to detect when geometry is close by. So it's using the ambient occlusion node to basically fade off the plane, because this is just a plane that I have this applied to. By having it fade off as it gets close to things, it means that you can put these planes in your scene, and whenever they get close to geometry, they're going to fade away. So you'll never have that intersection point where you can see it touching geometry. So you can hide the fact that it's just a flat surface. So that is only available in cycles. So when we switch over to Eevee, we lose that effect. So if I switch over to Eevee, you can see that immediately goes away, and you get that hard line where you've got the intersection. So that's a downside of Eevee, but that might change in the future. Right now, the ambient occlusion node just works in cycles. So next thing is all these controls that I've set up for it. So what we've got here, I'll just go ahead and hit play. So this is an Eevee, so it's working in Eevee. It works in cycles as well. What you get is we've got the rain cutout movement. So the cutout is the darkened areas where we're breaking up that rain pattern. So we can change the speed that it's moving. So you can have it like go down really fast. We can change the Y movement in both directions. Z movement creates this like crazy kind of undulation effect. So then we've got the individual rain movement controls. So the rain is the finer detail that you have in there. So we can move it on the Z, the X, and the Y as well. So you can get some nice effects with that. So then we've also got rain cutout undulation speed. So this is just the speed at which the cutout undulates. So it's very similar to the Z, but it's a little different. It's affecting the W value in the noise. So that's what's going on with that. Then we've got the rain undulation speed. Same thing. This can kind of create sort of a bit of a shimmer effect. So if maybe you're a bit closer to your rain, you're going to see that shimmer a bit more. Might be worth using. Then we've got the rain base transparency. This is basically how transparent it is to begin with. So that's set to 0.3 to start with. But you can change that to anything you want. Then we've got the rain emission strength. So at the moment, all of this is being piped through an emission shader. And so you can increase this strength to make it brighter in the scene or darker in the scene. So using an emission shader, it just means that it's going to stand out a little bit better. And it's also faster for everything to render. I'll show you how that's set up in a second. Then we got the camera fade distance and the geo proximity fade distance. Again, geo proximity, that only really works in cycles, and this kind of just affects the distance at which it fades away. Camera fade, so as the camera approaches this shader, it's going to slowly fade away like that. So you never actually clip through it. And again, that's part of the trick of making this rain work, is that you never clip through it, and it never clips through anything if you're running out of cycles. So you get this nice gradual fade. So it makes it feel like it's a real volume of rain, especially if you layer a few of these in your scene, duplicate a couple of these together. So the camera fade distance, this just affects how soon will it begin to fade away. So if you increase this number, it's going to begin fading away a lot later. So it might fade from here. If you decrease that number, you're going to get a lot closer to it before it starts to fade away. The closer you get to 0, the closer you're going to get to a clip as you pass through it. So now the way it's set up to render, it's actually not using the principled BSDF, and that's a speed decision. Now you could repipe these through to a principled BSDF to get real interaction in your scene and to have it actually affect everything or be affected by everything in a way the principled BSDF shader would allow it to. But what I have it set up for is just a simple transparency and a simple emission mixed together and then popped to the output. And that means it's going to render a lot faster. Another thing to speed it up is if we go over into the little orange box tab here with the transform options for the object. If we go down to visibility or viewport display, you can turn off a couple of different things to really help with the speed. So if we turn off shadow, that's going to help. Also if we switch over to cycles, that's really what I wanted to show you. So we go back to cycles. I'll just stop playing it. And I go back to here. Okay, here. So under visibility, to really get this thing to render fast, you can actually just turn all of these off, which they're defaulted to set. I've turned them off on this plane. So you've got that as an example. Just have camera turned on. So it's only visible to the camera. Everything else in the scene won't see it. And that means that it's not going to, cycles won't use the transparency of this to calculate any shadows across objects in your scene, or it's just going to render a whole lot faster. So if you wanted to have some just quick rain to throw in your scene, that's the way to do it. All right, cool. So shadow is turned off as well. So that also helps. You can see if I have shadow turned on, it kind of gives away the effect. So having it not cast shadows in the scene really makes it look quite nice. You also have the edge matte controls, which if you're ever in a situation where you don't want to see the full plane and you're zoomed out enough that you can actually see the entire thing, you don't want to have these edges. Got these edge mattes here. So the edge matte intensity basically turns it on and off, the zero value of 0 or 1. So if you switch this to 1, it's going to cut off the edges there. And then you've got some different things you can tweak things with. So you can like make it really gradual, or you can also make it really harsh. So it's a real firm edge. So you can adjust that with the edge matte fade intensity. And then we've got the edge matte position Y, which moves it up and down. Just you can change its position if you wanted to. Same with the edge matte position X, moves it back and forth. Just pop those back to 0. And then you've got the scale, so you can scale it on the Y or on the X. You could make it like a small little circle and then move it around. You could also animate these values if you wanted to do something really cool. Anyways, so that's just in case you want to have the edge matte, in case you're seeing the whole thing. So you can just turn it off. Otherwise, if you've got this going right to the edge of your scene. So anyways, hope all those controls are really helpful and that this is an exciting new part of your workflow. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for checking out the Master Pack. Get the Particle City Master Pack of assets at blendermarket.com. And don't forget to check out Patreon, where certain tiers will also get you a 50% discount on everything in the store.